Breaking news! The Baltimore Ravens are about to be part of something historic, and this isn't just a simple, unnoticed schedule update. It's the kind of change that reveals exactly where the NFL is headed, and, more importantly, where the Ravens stand on the global stage right now. The rumors started quietly, almost like the ones you ignore while browsing on your phone. After all, it was early April, and we'd already seen false headlines circulating, claims about roster cuts, trades that never happened, and all sorts of chaos. But this one caught on. And when the details started to fall into place, it became clear this is real and it's huge. But before we delve into the subject, be sure to like this post if you truly believe this team is headed in the right direction. And I want to see something in the comments right now. Type, "I trust the Ravens. We will come back stronger," if you're optimistic no matter what. Let's go. According to league sources, the Baltimore Ravens will face the Dallas Cowboys in Week 3 of the upcoming season. But here's the twist. The game will not be played in Baltimore, and it won't be in Dallas either. Instead, the NFL is taking this matchup all the way to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. We're talking about one of the most electric quarterbacks in the world right now, Lamar Jackson, leading the Ravens into an international spotlight against one of the most globally recognized franchises in football, the Cowboys. This isn't just a game, it's a statement. The NFL is choosing this matchup to expand its reach, and that tells you everything about how valuable the Ravens brand has become. And there's even more context that makes this story hit harder. This game is expected to take place at the iconic Maracana Stadium, marking the first NFL game ever held in Rio. That alone is historic, but it's also part of a much bigger plan. This won't be a one-off event. The league is planning multiple games in Rio over the next few years, showing a serious commitment to growing the sport in Brazil. Now think about the bigger picture here. The NFL has been pushing international games more aggressively than ever before, but let's be honest, past matchups didn't always carry this level of excitement. The Ravens have played internationally before, but often against teams that didn't bring the same global appeal. This time, it's different. This time, they're putting Lamar Jackson on a worldwide stage where his influence already reaches far beyond the United States. And if you've been paying attention, this connection to Brazil isn't random. Lamar himself has already acknowledged how big his fan base is there. He's talked about how surreal it is that people in Brazil follow his career, support his game, and are inspired by what he does on the field. He even mentioned wanting to visit the country one day. And now, that opportunity is coming in the biggest way possible. From the league's perspective, this is a perfect storm. You've got a superstar quarterback with global appeal, a fan base that's growing internationally, and a matchup against a franchise that's already one of the most recognized names in sports. Of course they're taking this game overseas. Of course they're making it a centerpiece event. And yes, there are trade-offs. Fans in the United States will have to deal with a different schedule, maybe unusual kickoff times, maybe a routine that feels off compared to a normal Sunday. But if you flip the perspective, this is something fans in other countries have dealt with for years, waking up early or staying up late just to watch NFL games. Now it's their turn to experience it live, and honestly, it's hard not to appreciate that. At the same time, you can already imagine what this environment is going to look like. A packed stadium in Rio, a mix of Ravens fans, Cowboys fans, and new NFL fans experiencing their first live game. The energy is going to be different. The atmosphere is going to be electric. And for the Ravens, this is a chance to represent not just Baltimore, but the entire franchise identity on a global level. The atmosphere is heating up behind the scenes in Baltimore, and this international spotlight is only one piece of a much bigger picture that the Ravens are trying to build right now. Because while everyone is excited about Rio, the reality is this team is still chasing something bigger, a return to the Super Bowl, and every move they make this offseason is tied to that goal. But before we go any further, make sure you've already hit that like button if you've been a Baltimore Ravens fan for over 20 years. It's always incredible to see fans from different generations still riding with this team. And if that's you, drop a comment right now. Go Ravens! My heart beats purple and black. Now let's get straight into it, because while the global expansion is grabbing headlines, there are real questions being asked about how this roster is being built, and whether the Ravens are doing enough to truly compete at the highest level. One of the biggest debates right now revolves around General Manager Eric DeCosta and his approach to free agency and roster construction. Some fans feel like the team has been too conservative, especially when it comes to signing proven veteran talent. And on the surface, you can understand that frustration. When you have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, you don't want to waste that window. You want to surround him with elite, reliable pieces, not just potential, not just development projects. But when you really break it down, the situation is more complex than that. The Ravens have brought in experienced players over the years. Names like Jadeveon Clowney, Kyle Van Noy, Derrick Henry, and DeAndre Hopkins show that this front office is willing to make moves. The issue isn't necessarily a lack of veteran signings. It's how those pieces fit into the overall structure of the team. At times, It feels like the roster has been built from the outside in, rather than from the trenches outward. And in a league where games are often won at the line of scrimmage, that's something that can't be ignored. The Ravens have experimented, especially when it comes to edge rushers, but they haven't consistently hit on those draft picks. And when something doesn't work over and over again, eventually you have to adjust. That's exactly what we're starting to see now. Instead of relying solely on development, there's been a shift toward bringing in more proven production, players who can make an immediate impact. That change in philosophy could be exactly what this team needs to take the next step. Now let's talk about Lamar Jackson for a second, because everything revolves around him. One of the biggest narratives throughout his career has been the lack of a true, elite wide receiver, someone in their prime who can consistently dominate. Yes, there have been good players. Yes, there have been flashes, but the most successful connections Lamar has had, they've often come from homegrown talent like Marquise Hollywood Brown and Zay Flowers. And that says a lot. It shows the Ravens can develop talent, but it also raises the question, what happens if you combine that development strength with a true top-tier acquisition? What does this offense look like if Lamar finally gets that undeniable number one target in his prime? Because imagine pairing that kind of weapon with what they already have. Imagine adding that to a system that's evolving, to a quarterback who's already one of the most dangerous players in football. That's where things start to get really interesting. And then there's the defensive side of the ball, where the conversation shifts again. The Ravens have been searching for consistency at pass rusher, trying different draft picks, different schemes, different approaches, but they haven't fully solved that puzzle yet. So what do? Do you keep trying to develop, or do you go all in and make a massive move for a proven star? Because there are already ideas floating around, aggressive ones. Trade packages involving multiple first-round picks. Big-name targets that could completely reshape the identity of this defense overnight. Moves that would signal one thing clearly: the Ravens are done waiting. And when you connect all of this back to the international game in Brazil, it adds another layer. This isn't just about playing overseas. It's about timing. It's about momentum. It's about showing the world a team that's not just popular, but dominant. A team that's not just exciting, but complete. So now everything starts to come together. A global stage in Rio de Janeiro. A superstar quarterback with international appeal. A front office under pressure to build a championship roster. And a fan base that's watching closely, questioning every move, hoping this is finally the year everything clicks. So let me ask you this, Ravens fans, if the front office had the chance to make one bold, aggressive move right now, whether it's a blockbuster trade or a major signing, would you want them to take that risk and go all in for a Super Bowl, or stick with the current strategy and trust the process? And this is where everything comes full circle for the Baltimore Ravens. You've got a team stepping onto a global stage in Rio de Janeiro, representing not just the city of Baltimore, but the entire identity of a franchise that has been chasing greatness year after year. You've got Lamar Jackson, a superstar whose influence now clearly stretches far beyond the United States, about to play in front of a crowd that has been waiting for this moment. And at the same time, you've got a front office that knows the pressure is real. Because let's be honest, this is no longer just about being competitive. This is about finishing the job. The Ravens have been close. They've built strong rosters, they've developed talent, they've made smart moves, but almost isn't enough anymore. Not with a quarterback like Lamar. Not with a fan base that expects more. And definitely not with the kind of spotlight the team is about to receive on an international level. That game in Brazil? It's bigger than just week 3.